I am a PLPC in Missouri, so a licensed counselor, provisionally licensed professional counselor. I work out of Lee Summit, and I've been doing this for almost 3 years now. In my practice, I use a lot of mindfulness and meditation type ideas to help my clients, and specifically around the topic of anxiety, which is what I'm covering today. So this is going to be a presentation that uses a lot of meditative and mindfulness practices to address anxiety and how we can improve our life. How do I get this slide? There we go. So the ideas that I'm going to be presenting tonight come from a program that's called MBSR, Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction. It's a program that was developed by this guy named Jon Kabat-Zinn. And he actually developed this for the hospital setting. Jon Kabat-Zinn is pretty big in the meditation space. He's been doing meditation for a long time, but he also works in hospitals. And he developed this program to be used in a hospital setting because he was noticing that a lot of people were coming to the hospital and not necessarily getting better. And he was like, maybe something else is going on. And so this program was meant to be kind of a supplemental program that people could engage in to help deal with their symptoms from whether it's illness, chronic issues, chronic pain, or just general anxiety and depression. So like that's the kind of the history of MBSR. And so what I'm doing, I'm just kind of pulling some ideas out of this program and showing you how we can use them to work with anxiety. So first, I'll just kind of start off, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a big umbrella term. It means all kinds of things. I'm going to present 3 different aspects of mindfulness. We're going to have grounding exercises. We're going to have like a body scan exercise, and we're going to have what's called mindful eating. These are the 3 that I'm bringing out. It also includes meditation and general awareness, this kind of thing. And if anyone's interested, the Zen meditation classes that are coming up fit right into this mindfulness stuff and can be a really good extra support to what you might learn here today. So mindfulness is a giant umbrella term. If someone says mindfulness, it can mean all kinds of things. And today I'm giving 3 specific things that count as mindfulness. Mindfulness also is talking about the natural way our thoughts work. Our thoughts are usually all over the place. And this is a normal thing for just the human experience. Our thoughts go everywhere. We bounce from one thought to next thought to next thought. Our thoughts, we could be thinking about the future. We could be thinking about the past. We can be thinking about different people in our life. We can be thinking about who said what, when. Just our thoughts are going all over the place. And mindfulness is about the recognition that where our thoughts are going are different from where we are right now. And so a simple phrase I like to use for people is like, be here now. And so I think it's kind of obvious that we can recognize if I'm thinking about my to-do list tomorrow, well, my to-do list for tomorrow has nothing to do with the chair I'm currently sitting in, or the noises that are happening outside my office door, or the people who are on this call with us. Like the chair, the noises, the people here, this is what's happening now, but I can get caught in my thoughts about, oh, I have to do this tomorrow, and I have to do laundry, and I have to do dishes, and I have to. And so I hope it starts to become pretty clear of how our thinking can take us to all these different places that are not here and now. And mindfulness, in its broadest sense, is about bringing us back to right here, right now, what's going on here. This is tremendously powerful for anxiety. What we like to say about kind of anxiety and depression. So we kind of say anxiety is sort of like a fear of the future, and depression is sort of a fear of the past. And that one can sound a little bit weird. And that's kind of like when we think about the past, we ruminate on the past, we're afraid of how people have responded to what we did in the past. So we kind of say depression is us fearing the past, anxiety is us fearing the future. And again, both of those are not here, not now. And mindfulness can help us deal with anxiety or depression by bringing us back to here. We start to learn how to recognize, oh, my thoughts are going into like, I'm going to get fired tomorrow, or some fear that we have. With mindfulness, we can start to become aware that my thoughts are going to this place that hasn't happened yet. And now I feel really sick to my stomach. I feel jittery, I feel worked up, I feel something because my thoughts are somewhere. And using mindfulness, we can start bringing ourselves back. But I'm not at tomorrow yet, I'm in today. And today, right now, I'm sitting in my chair and I'm just here on a call, and it's okay. I'm safe now, I'm fine now. There's nothing actually to be afraid of now. And so this is going to be how we start using mindfulness to deal with our anxiety. We're going to use mindfulness to become aware of what's happening in our thoughts, and then we can use it to bring us back to this moment. It's easy for me to say all this. It's real easy to say these words. It can be a lot harder to actually do it. But a trick that I love to use with people that is almost always working is our physical senses. So again, this anxiety is like fear of the future. It's somewhere else, it's some other time. Your senses can't do that. Your senses are literally incapable of seeing the future. You're literally incapable of feeling what happened yesterday. You just can't, your senses can't do it. And so the best guide I've got for getting you into this present moment is your physical senses. And we're going to use that very specifically in the first technique that we talk about. And then the final piece to acceptance, so like we start connecting to the present moment, and then a really big piece is like we accept this present moment without judgment. And so that these fears of the future, these fears of the past, are judgments as well, as like, oh, this thing that's going to happen tomorrow is not good. It's a judging of a future moment. And so that can creep into the present moment. We could be sitting as like, I do not like this chair I'm sitting in. And we can start judging. And that judgment itself can be part of our distress. And so mindfulness is about learning how to be in this present moment and like, okay, my chair's not exactly what I might want it to be, but I can tolerate it. I'm okay with it, and I don't have to judge it. I can just accept how this chair feels. I can accept that maybe the room is a little bit warmer than I would like. It's okay. I don't have to judge how hot it is. I can just accept this moment, no judgment. I can be okay. So that's in very broad terms what mindfulness is. So our first technique then is something called grounding exercises. Again, grounding exercises is still a bit of a broad term. I've got a specific one up here that I like to use with people, but grounding exercises is directly using your senses to get you into this present moment. I don't know how true this is, but I like to tell people the reason why we use the word ground in grounding exercises is because we want to connect people to the ground. It's always fun to tell people like, start paying attention to how your feet are touching the floor. Like try to feel yourself touching the ground. And you don't have to do anything different, but pay attention. And you just like intensely feel yourself touching the ground. And there seems to be something really powerful in humans that when we get a connection to the ground, and often through our feet, we just feel more settled. So I like to think that that's where the idea of grounding exercises come from, but I don't really know. But again, grounding exercises is connecting ourselves to our senses, to get us in this present moment. the specific technique that I like to use is simply called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is just walking through your senses. And so I use this a lot with people who struggle with panic attacks. So someone getting in a panic attack, they're kind of losing control of their emotions. They feel like they're losing control over their body itself. They start hyperventilating and they're just they're trapped in fear, and they feel like they're losing control. And so I'll use something like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to give them back that control. And so at the moment that you can start to notice that you're feeling anxiety or you're feeling panic or something like that, now's the moment where you get to start doing something. And we start with 5. Just name to yourself 5 things you can see. And that's literally whatever you can see. And so like right here, I see a lamp. I see green paint on the wall. I see a clock that is on time and moving. And you're just doing this. You just 5 things that I can see. Can I identify 5 things and name them? Then we move to 4 things you can hear. And so like right now, I can hear my chair squeaking as I'm moving around in it. I can hear a noise machine out in the hallway that's kind of giving off a low static sound. I can hear my own voice speaking. So it's like, I'm just listening and I'm naming some things that I can hear. 3 things you can feel. This is the sense of touch. And so it's like, you can put your hand on something and like, I can feel the table. I like to encourage people when they do this one to maybe pull out a description of what they feel. So if I put my hand on the table feels smooth to me. Or maybe it's a little bit more subtle, and like you can start naming, like, I can feel how my sandals are pressing on my feet, something like that. And I can, maybe you can pull out some details, like I can feel a strap laying across my big toe or something, like getting into the detail. As we start getting down into this, when we start getting into like feeling stuff, it becomes a lot more powerful down here. And so pulling out these little tiny details can help you get more control. So 3 things you can feel. The next one, 2 things you can smell or taste. It doesn't necessarily matter. Like taste can be a hard one to do. If it's open to you, like if you have the opportunity for it and it works for you, like we might encourage you, like go pull something like a cookie or a grape or something and just put it in your mouth and try to taste it. If that works for you. If that you don't have that opportunity, just kind of like, can you smell anything? Are there any smells in the room? Can you go outside and smell a flower or just the air or something like that? 2 things you can smell and taste. And then we end with 1 deep breath. And it's exactly what it is, 1 deep breath. And so that's all you do. You go through your senses, you get down to the breath, and by the end of the breath, we would hope that you have more control over what happens next for you. Maybe you're still feeling some emotion and something and you're still a little jittery, but we hope you're in a better place. And this kind of order of things, we start with seeing, we move to hearing, we move to feeling, and these kind of, that movement is kind of brings you closer and closer in to your person, to your actual body. Because we can see things far away, we can hear things far away, feeling things is up close, smelling and tasting is kind of inside you. And then a breath is kind of like your life. And so not only is this practice connecting you with your senses, but it's also bringing you closer and closer to your actual body and helping you be in your body in this place right now. So that's a grounding exercise. It's a very specific application of our senses. And so I like it as a good example of how mindfulness can start helping us respond differently to our emotions. Next one, body scan meditation. This one, body scan, it's about paying attention to the body, paying attention to each part. How do I usually use body scans with people? I'll talk about this more in just a second, like the progressive muscle relaxation is something we add to it. And I use that a lot with people who struggle to sleep. But a body scan itself is good for learning what your body feels like. It might be a little bit surprising, but a lot of people live in a disconnected way from their bodies, and where they are instead is in their thoughts. They're trapped in their thoughts and they're not entirely sure what it's like to live in their body. And so the body scan meditation is really good for learning how to do that. And so what it is we call it a meditative practice. And all you're doing is sequentially paying attention to every part of your body. You don't have to do every part. You can just do some if you want. The one I've done several, sometimes the ones I've done start at the head and work down. Some of them I've done start at the feet and work up. What you do in a body scan though is you just get comfortable. You can do it in a chair, you can do it in bed, you can do it when you're lying down on the floor, you can do it while standing, you can, wherever's comfortable for you. And then you just start paying attention somewhere. And so like, if we start at the feet, we might just start. It's like, okay, take a few moments and notice each toe. Just try to move your attention and see if you can notice each of your 10 toes. Might be a little weird. You may not be able to notice it, and that's fine. That's pretty common that you're not necessarily, but it's really interesting to start exploring, like, what can I notice and what can't I notice? And that's all this is. And again, I'll remind, like, it's all non-judgmental. All you're doing is noticing and letting it be. There's no right, there's no wrong. There's just like, this is what I notice. And someone else would be like, this is what I notice. So the body's going to start with each toe. And then when we feel like we've scanned our toes, we can move like, how about the arch of the foot? Can we notice the arch? What's going on in the arch? Is it neutral? Is it tight? Is it sore? Have we been standing all day and the arches are tired or something? We just notice. And then we can move to the heel, move to the ankle, move to the knee, and all the way on up. And so, yeah, this is the body scan. And the importance of the body scan is just learning to be in your body and giving your body attention that it may have never gotten before. And it's just kind of a repetition of the same thing and how it helps with anxiety. It brings us to the here and now. This is what my body is experiencing now. And if we're successful at being non-judgmental, even if we're feeling pain potentially in our body, if we're good at just experiencing it and not judging the pain, this naturally calms us down because we don't resist it anymore. We don't fear it. We just notice it and accept it. So that's a rough overview of the body scan. Down at the bottom of my slide here, there's a YouTube link for a guided body scan meditation from the Mount Sinai Health System. So if you wanted, you can do the body scan on your own and just kind of like follow the instructions that I've given here, and you just do it, and that's totally fine. Or something like this YouTube video, they'll talk you through it. And all you have to do, hit play and then follow their instructions. Or you can do your own search. There are a lot of meditative apps, or you can just search YouTube or the internet itself and find, if you just type in body scan meditation, I'm sure you're going to find a recording or a video or something that will just guide you through a body scan, and you can do it that way. Lots of options out there. And then I'll come back to the progressive muscle relaxation is something I really like to use with with people. It's very similar to a body scan. It's just got an extra step to it. I use it a lot with people who struggle to sleep because a lot of people find this very relaxing. I also use this with people with chronic pain. This seems to be a good way for people with chronic pain to like learn how to release their pain in a way. So a progressive muscle relaxation, again, starts at the top or starts at the bottom, either one, whatever works for you. But as you work through, it's more than just noticing, you're actually tensing. So if we were to start at the top of the head for progressive muscles, like, all right, we're going to focus at the top of the head and like try to tense the muscles in your head and hold it. Like up here is kind of difficult, but I can go to my brow. And then if I go to my brow and I tense my muscles in the brow, I'll do this and I'll just hold it for 2 or 3 seconds and let it go. And maybe I'll move to my jaw after that and like tense the jaw. Hold it, let it go. Maybe I'll move down to my shoulders. So tense my shoulders and like have those shoulder muscles really tight for 2 to 3 seconds and then relax them. And you just move through your body this way. You go through the arms, you go to the fists, you go to your stomach, thighs, legs, feet. Tense, hold it, relax. And so you're moving, you're scanning through the body again, but then you're kind of focusing on the muscles more than just the whole part. And then when people do this, they find it very relaxing and it helps many go to sleep. So this is a body scan meditation. Final one I have is mindful eating. This is, I think, exactly what it sounds like. It's eating. It's a recognition that most of us are eating on automatic. We get our food, it's late, and then boom, we just chow through. This kind of practice tries to capture us when we're just like munching on chips or something. So like we sit down, we hit the TV, and then like chips in, and we don't know how many we've eaten by the time we're done. And then maybe for some of us, the bag is empty. You're like, how'd that happen? So mindful eating is about trying to like, again, pay attention to what's happening here, what's happening now. And it's just it's an activity that just gives us something to do as we practice this. And so when we try to do mindful eating, where we start is just, again, paying attention. And we'll start with the external stuff. We'll look at, what does the food look like? When you get your meal and you sit down to eat it, just take a moment and like, what does my food look like? Because again, most of us don't even look. We just like, there it is, eat. And so you just look at it. Can you notice the colors of your food? Can you notice size? Can you notice that? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? Does your like piping hot food after at a restaurant, it sizzles, like paying attention to what it sounds like. And then with every bite, we're trying to fully taste the bite. So we put it in our mouth and we let it be there, and we try to explore the whole experience of what that bite of food is like. And then that's the taste, but we can also do the texture. Like, what does the food feel like in my mouth? And I hope you can hear again, like this is all the senses again, coming back into the act of eating. And then, and so we're just taking a moment and trying to really experience the whole activity instead of just going on our autopilot and just scarfing it down. You can do this practice with anything. You can do it with one bite. You can do it with a simple snack. You can do it for the whole meal. That's a fun challenge for some people. Like, try to eat the entire meal mindfully. Try to pay attention to every single bite. And this might be a good example. So like when we get into deeper meditation ideas, we tell people like, try to notice every single breath. And that can be a little abstract and hard to grasp. And this might be a good way to practice it before going that abstract. Is like, try to fully pay attention to every bite of your meal. See what happens. Don't be surprised if you find it difficult. Paying attention that long is hard, and it takes a lot of practice. Our brains are not used to it, and when we try to do it, it can be very difficult. And that's okay, because again, we're practicing and noticing and not judging. So if we find it difficult, we can just like, I find this difficult. That's okay. It's also good. Mindful eating is also good practice, because when we start paying attention to what we're eating, sometimes we can be surprised at what we notice. I did this practice with a group almost 6 months ago. And some of the people in the group, we were doing it with just raisins, is all we were doing, not a full meal. Just take a single raisin, put it in your mouth, explore it. And some people came out of that practice and they're like, I did not realize that there were some raisins I like and some raisins I don't like. They had never known it before. They've lived decades of their life and had no idea that they had different experiences on different kinds of raisins from the same box. And they're just like, raisins that are of this texture, raisins of that are of that size, have different experiences for me. And so mindful eating is a great place to really practice, like learning, encountering something new, something that we probably missed. And then also like practicing not judging it. So like we pay attention, like if I eat the tomato, that's a lot slimier than I thought it was, but I'm going to accept that and I'm not going to judge it. It's different than I had assumed, but I'm just going to be okay with it. So mindful eating can be a really great practice for it. So those are my 3 techniques that I had. I'll just run over real quick. We had grounding exercises, directly using our senses to experience the present moment here and now. We have a body scan with a progressive muscle relaxation, which is to familiarize yourself with your own body, what's going on, and how to like get connected to it. And if you want more relaxation, you can start working it with progressive muscle relaxation to help you relax your own body. And then we can do mindful eating, which is a really concrete way to use our senses to experience an activity. And so all of these 3, again, they're just simple practices that I think anyone can take home with themselves. And they lay the kind of like a foundation for learning how to handle anxiety. I've been trying to connect it through the presentation, but like these activities don't necessarily seem like they deal with anxiety, but they're dealing with it. They're helping us do something in the background, which is connect to our present moment. And it's easy for me to tell people, hey, be in the present moment. That's easy to say, a lot harder to do. And these activities give you something specific to do to connect to this present moment. And as you learn to connect to this present moment, then you can move it into that next step, into mastering something like, oh, my thoughts are doing this with anxiety and I'm feeling this in my body, and something like that. And if I want to give an example of a more advanced thing of how it can use that, as we start to learn what our body feels like. So if we use the body scan and we start to really get comfortable with what our body feels like, we can start to notice when I'm anxious, my stomach feels like this. So that's something that we can learn through a body scan. And so then after learning it through a body scan, we can move it to another step and like, okay, now that I feel this in my stomach and I know that that feeling is anxiety, I want to do something with it. So maybe I'm going to move to the progressive muscle relaxation and I'm going to use the muscle contractions and activity to let that energy out. Or if that doesn't work, like we can move like, okay, I'm noticing this sensation in my stomach that's related to anxiety. I need to just get my mind away from it. So I'm going to start paying attention to everything I can see and everything I can hear. And I'm going to move my thinking and move my attention away from what's making me anxious and into something that's more neutral. Again, the present moment and what's happening in our immediate environment. So those are kind of some of the advanced ideas and how you can blend them together to treat anxiety. But the starting place is just to do these simple exercises. Grounding exercises, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, body scan, mindful eating. Good practices to get us connected to our body. So that's what my presentation. Anyone have questions?